there is this word. It's called risk. Before computers, risk was used in two different ways in the English language. Risk could be a noun, but it also could be a verb. I'm going to stick with driving. You're going along the road and you see the light turns yellow. You have a couple choices. You could hit the decelerator that we call the brake, or you hit the accelerator that we call the accelerator, the gas pedal. Should you risk it? When you make a choice like that, aware of what the potential consequences might be, that choice could be characterized with our technology called the English language in this verb way as risking. But you can also, after the computer, risk became objectified, as if it was a noun. There's subjective and there's objective risk, and that's okay because they're both nouns in the English language. And so you could construct a sentence, risk, risked, risk. And the word could fit in both the subject, the verb, and the object in a way that is grammatically correct. I'm not saying it's sensible, but I'm saying it's grammatically correct. So now what we want to do here is differentiate between risk in the English language as a noun and risk in the English language as a verb. I want to understand how this shows up in different ways. So one way that we think about it of risk as a verb is deciding, which I'm using or to decide. Okay, that's cool. When we think about it as a noun, how do we think about it? So we can see it as a threat or a hazard. How else do we think about it? Okay, so I'm getting a hazard, a threat, a probability, a consequence. We would not use the word risk if there were not uncertainty. So whatever we're doing with this noun use of the word risk, it implies some sense of uncertainty, but not ambiguity. And I'll give you an example. If you're in a well-structured environment, you are playing a game like poker, and you've got a hand with 4 hearts and 1 spade. And you're like, wow, if I throw away the spade and draw another card, I know the probability that I'll have a flush. It's 1 in 4. Does that make sense? It's not ambiguous. You're going to draw a spade, a club, a diamond, or a heart. If you pulled a clover out of a box of Lucky Charms instead of one of those other cards out of like a poker deck, then you'd be like, what the hell is this? I don't even know what it is when I'm holding a clover in my... It doesn't make any sense. Risk is uncertain, but it's not ambiguous, because the possibilities, when you are talking about the alternatives, when you're in this highly structured environment that allows you to calculate a probability, it might be rare, but you know what all the alternatives, all the cards that might turn up. Okay, what else? Because it's a noun, we can think of objective risk, we can think of subjective risk. Because it's a noun, we can quantify it, we can measure it, we can report it, we can create an index around it. And everybody understands when we do that we're talking about a thing, or a set of things, or a portfolio of things. And it all fits well into our spreadsheet. Give me more over here. What do you do with these on the spreadsheet? It's hard to say. The spreadsheet has verbs, multiplication, addition, summation, lots of commands, and they're all buried underneath, the Excel sheet. You got to go into the cell, you got to find out what the command, you have to understand what it does. So with this example, we understand the way the word risk lends itself to this noun form, but we can also use it in the English language as a verb. The noun form in our discussions of infrastructure dominates use of the word risk. We think, and it's partly because we can use more data now, partly because the computers change the way we think about the world. But now when people talk about risk, more often than not, they use that word and they use it in the noun sense.